All right, try again.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Town Council meeting for November 20th. If you can please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, before we get to appointments and our public comments, I'd like to amend the agenda to add the Order Sons of Italy in America, LT Grasso Lodge, 2538, before public comments.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so tonight we have a very special presentation, and I'm going to call up the Order of Sons of Italy with the President John Tornatore and the group, and I'm going to call up our members of the police department, Chief Brian Klett and others. And so I'm going to give you a microphone.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Tornatore. I'm the president of the LT Grasso Lodge, Sons and Daughters of America. And this is Rick Newell, our vice president, Mario Torcia, our treasurer, Lisa Mangiafico, our secretary, and Joanne Mayano, our financial secretary. And we're very proud to be here tonight to present to you this shield that you can place at the police station or wherever you want in appreciation of all your guys' efforts during our first Italian-American weekend that we had here in Rocky Hill, beginning of November. We haven't had a Italian festival type function in almost 30 years in the greater Hartford area. 94, 95 were the last 2 years. So a lot of effort was put in, and your guys put in a lot of effort also, keeping the area safe, wonderful. We appreciate it, and we wanted to give you this as a thank you.
Thank you very much. It's beautiful. And I'm glad I brought a couple people with me to get it back to the office. But thank you so much. We're looking forward to next year and we're working with you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening. My name's Rick Knoll. 30 years ago, I went to work for the Disabled American Veterans. 30 years later, I'm still helping veterans. I don't know if any of you guys are veterans, but on behalf of the Disabled American Veterans Chief, I'm going to present you with one of our department challenge coins.
Well, thank you very much.
Hopefully, I'm going to give it to you. This has our logo. Our logo's on the front and all the branches of the military services are on the back.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, Jeff, it's all you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate all your work, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So very much appreciate that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for all your service.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll leave you some of my cards.
He has 4 purple cards.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to public comment.
Rich Paul, Policio, 8 Washington Street, Rocky Hill. Madam Mayor and members of the council. On election day, several of us that were at District 2, several of the candidates, and we observed elderly people especially, and even younger people that are physically challenged. The way the parking lot is laid out, and rightfully so, the handicap spaces are aligned with the main entrance. But on election day, we don't use the main entrance, we use the other entrance for voting. So I would just, as a past chairperson of the Rock Hill Town Council, Public Safety, and concerned about people with handicap disabilities, that if we could maybe have this suggestion go to the Public Safety Committee and strongly think about moving the voting for District 2 back to the Rocky Hill Town Hall, the Senior Community Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pulicio.
Chris Duff, 1108 New Britain Ave, longtime listener, first-time caller. I was looking over my whiteboard, and there were some things I had written down that I think that the new council might want to take into account over the next term. It's going to go by quick, especially for the new members who are seated. Like, you won't believe how fast budget season will soon be upon us. And as a former member of council, I always had the feeling I wish I had more time to approach some things. So there are a few things that I want to just raise for consideration as we start a new term and populating the subcommittees. The first is that I think we should do a townwide review of the farmland and development rights that we currently have ownership to, and evaluate whether they would be suitable for agriculture, particularly some of the parcels that might not be public facing or may not have a future beyond open space, but in the past maybe they were used for agriculture, but they've grown in. There may be other groups that we could partner with, like the NRCS, or using resources like CT FarmLink to find perhaps farmers that would want to use it over a longer period of time. They might need a little bit longer of a list if they want to do something like an orchard or something that would involve more clearing. Give them perhaps more of a longer-term lease, so if they have to put up more upfront investment, they have more of a potential for return. I think the foresight that we had as a community to invest in the Rocky Hill Community Farm paid off this year, especially as we're seeing more volatility happening with flooding in the meadows. We may want to see if we can explore that as a officially farm-friendly town, if that's something that we could take a look at. The other thing I wanted to raise was the town pool. We're stuck in a very challenging spot where the pool is old. It is probably at the point very soon where we have to spend more money to keep it repaired, maybe throwing good money after bad. But it's a large enough number that it would be tough to accommodate through the operating budget. I would recommend trying to get the specifications ready and have it as shovel-ready as possible. So if potentially grant funding does come up, or if perhaps interest rates go lower and we want to consider, I know we don't want to do a lot of referendums, but it may be an opportunity to invest, or at least put a question to the people of the town for the replacement of the pool, splash pad, pump house, some of the things that Craig Bowman had previously presented. I think in the past, the idea is that we would allocate some portion of the budget towards a replacement of the pool, but it's a big enough number where I think if we're going to try to take that approach moving forward, it has to be in some sort of earmarked, special fund that the Finance Committee may want to consider if we're going to start putting money in there over a number of years. One option might be to do a survey of local towns that have similar projects. Maybe they were successful in a grant, but the town had to put a matching fund up. If we can start putting money towards that, if we don't want to borrow, that might be an option to consider, because that problem isn't going away, and we have an amenity here that's really starting to deteriorate. The third one is actually a lot less fun. It has to do with repeated incidents of white supremacist activity in town. We very recently had one where it was a different kind of nationally known group that did graffiti in Quarry Park, which is concerning on a number of levels. It's different than someone driving through a neighborhood and throwing garbage out the window. This means that someone has to know Quarry Park. They have to know our town. That might be someone in our town, or might be people who have awareness of it. And I think we need to get out of a mode where we are reactive to what the activities that these groups are doing, and try to get more proactive and not have a focus as much on what these groups of lousy people are doing to terrorize people in town, but how do we cut off the pipeline of folks who might be joining them, because what they're trying to do is recruit, and they know who they want to recruit. They want to recruit younger people, probably in their teens, probably males for the most part, who are angry. They want to give them something to buy into. And there's ways that, as a community, I think we can come together to combat that. I would recommend having a working group that involves members of the school, perhaps the school liaison, members of the police, public safety, to see what can we do to help come up with programs and give parents and educators resources to help de-radicalize our members of our community so they don't wind up participating in things like this. It's not a problem that's going away. I think it is something that we don't want to do the advertising for these groups, but we want to be realistic, especially with some of the rhetoric we're seeing in town with what's going on in the Middle East. Things are getting, the temperature's going up a lot higher than it has been. I just want to be realistic about what we're facing and trying to prevent these folks from getting what they want, which is recruiting more vulnerable people. If we intervene earlier, we can stop this kind of thing happening. So again, thank you for volunteering to serve. Congratulations and good luck on your upcoming term.
Thank you. Moving on to, sorry.
No problem. Alan Smith, 112 Old Main Street. First of all, congrats to everybody who was elected, who's coming back, new folks. I would also second everything that was said here already about seniors trying to get into the Mosier School through there. I don't know if we can do a curb cut or something like that, but absolutely that's something that witnessed a lot. And also, yes, I believe that we need to wrap our heads around how to deal with some of this white supremacist activity that's been going on here. But that wasn't why I was originally coming. I didn't see anything on the agenda. Perhaps it's something that's going to be talked about a little bit later, but I didn't see it in the meeting packet or anything either. And that is the stormwater survey that was conducted by the developer for in and around Main Street, Silas Dean, Kelston Row, Cedar Hollow. Apparently that was completed, but obviously we've had a lot going on the last couple weeks. I'm just hoping that we can get an update in terms of what was the result of that. Is this something that we need to continue to worry about? Do we as a town have any culpability? Does a developer have any culpability? Because just to update people, the HOA there has all agreed that they needed to do an assessment or else they were going to go bankrupt. So every resident owner there or every owner of a condo there has to pay between $5,000 and $7,000 to replenish their account, which is like $400,000 plus. And that is really just to replenish the money that the HOA spent in cleanup. That doesn't even include the tens of thousands of dollars that all the individual residents have had to pay just to make their dwelling livable again. So I think we owe it to them. They may have gotten some of that information already. If they have not, I think they should certainly get the results of this survey. My understanding is it was finished before the end of October. But also, we here in the rest of the town, I think, should get an update as to whether this is something that's going to continue to be a problem, whether it's resolved, and if we have any culpability. All right, thanks.
Okay, moving on to appointments and resignations. I have a bunch to go through. So I'm going to start with the appointment of the deputy mayor. For this term, I would like to announce that Alan Greenspan will be our deputy mayor, so thank you for that. And with respect to subcommittees on finance, we have Alan, who will be serving as the chair, Alan Greenspan, Jeff Levine, and Bill O'Sullivan. On government operations, we have Jeff Levine serving as the chair, along with Dave Savini and John Emanuel. On public safety, we have Pankaj Prakash serving as the chair, along with Fran Whalen and Bill O'Sullivan. On senior liaison, we have Alan Greenspan serving as the chair, along with Dave Savini and Mimi Thoreau. On land acquisition and farmland preservation, we have Fran Whalen serving as the chair, along with Dave Savini and John Emanuel. On capital improvements committee, we have Alan Greenspan serving as the chair, along with Mimi Thoreau, and I serve on that as a non-voting member. On economic development subcommittee, we have Alan Greenspan serving as the chair, along with Jeff Levine and Mimi Thoreau. Are there any corrections?
No, we're good, thank you.
Yes.
We also have, like, Ellen and I were on the Rules Committee. We don't really give a report, but you want us to remain on that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
But I don't,
Was I on that committee?
We don't really, but I think it's
Okay,
just,
I'll take
just
your
to
word for
review
it, I
them,
was on it.
so.
You do the liaison things too, or?
yes, you should do that. Let me just write that down. Mimi and Alan. And then we have our school liaison is Pankaj Prakash. And what is our other liaison?
State Senator.
State Senator and State Representative Liaison, which will be Jeff Levine. Okay. And yes,
Can you repeat CIP?
yes. CIP will be Alan Greenspan and Mimi Thoreau. And I will sit there as, what?
And you.
Yeah, and I will sit there as a non-voting member. Anything else? No? Okay. And then we will, we have time, but we're going to work on all the other committees and everything else. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's move on to subcommittee reports, beginning with
We
finance.
have to do the minutes first.
Oh, no, we should do the approval. We're going to do the approval of the minutes.
With that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the town council meeting minutes from the October 16th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
One abstain.
I abstain.
And you abstain?
Fran would abstain, yeah. Okay. And I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the town council special meeting of November 13th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye. Tricky.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention.
I abstain.
2, 3, 4 abstentions.
Actually, they were there.
They were there? They were there?
You don't have to abstain.
Just Alan was.
I was the only one not there.
As long as you read the minutes.
Okay,
We were there.
sounds good. Now we'll go to subcommittee reports, finance.
The Finance Committee has not met since our last council meeting. We are scheduled to meet December 14th at 6 PM.
Thank you. Government operations.
Government operations has not met since our last council meeting. We're going to talk about scheduling. We originally were the first Monday of every month. We're going to see if we can switch it to the third Monday because we're doing that anyway, special meetings and cancellations. So we'll have to talk about that, see if we can fit that in because I know that's a busy night, but we're going to try to do that.
Public safety.
No report. We canceled the meeting because we had pending appointments today. So we will have the first meeting of the newly formed council next month on third Monday. Thank you.
Senior liaison.
Senior Liaison did meet back on October 23rd. Just a brief report. Membership as of that meeting was 1,973 members. 1,611 are Rocky Hill residents, 3,662 are non-residents. Our senior lunch program is an ongoing program for the month of July, August, and September. We're averaging about 52 people at the senior lunches, so very active, very popular program. To seniors, there are more programs than I could list. It's about 4 pages. If you're looking for an activity, contact Senior Services. Gina has a full list of activities for almost all interest groups. We're past the flu deadline. That was in October. Our next meeting will be scheduled now that our committees are formed, once we put the agendas together. We don't go out till 2024.
Okay. Land acquisition and farmland preservation.
Well, I'm on the committee, and I had been. Community farm is getting cleaned up presently. We're also in the process of deciding what type of barn we want to build in the future. Staff has met with us as a committee, and it's going to be going out to bid in the near future for the barn. That's it.
Okay. Liaison to the state representative and the state senator.
So in anticipation of being appointed tonight, and just to kind of set the stage for how this is going to work for the next couple of years, I'm going to be reaching out to Senator Lesser and State Representative Wood a few days before every town council meeting to see if they have any updates for us. Representative Wood did give me a few items, so let me share those with you. Tomorrow at the OC Kitchen, she'll be holding a food and supplies drive for seniors from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. A bunch of supplies, variety of supplies that they're looking to get, and pizza will be provided, looks like, by the OC Kitchen. She wanted me to mention that Government Lamont announced a plan to nominate Daniel O'Keefe as Commissioner of Department of Economic and Community Development. This is important to us as as in the town of Rocky Hill, has received a bunch of money from the state through that department, and so that it's good to understand who's now running that department and have a good relationship with them. And lastly, there was a good announcement that, and I'm not going to get into all the details because it gets a bit into the weeds, but essentially there was a chance that employers would have to pay an increase in unemployment taxes, but because Connecticut was able to repay down their trust fund loan, and because they had advanced certain money to businesses, so that rate didn't go up last year, and because they paid off this loan, they don't have to go back to those employers to get that money that they lent to them. So as a result, the good news for our employers in the state that they will not be getting a heightened unemployment tax. So that's good news. So,
Yeah, that is good news.
I did not get any reply from Senator Lesser. Hopefully next time we'll get something from him. Thank you.
Thank you. School liaison.
Yeah, so as we were elected a couple of weeks ago, the new Board of Ed is constituted, and they were also they had their first meeting before us, actually. So I reached out to our chair of the Board of Ed, newly formed Board of Ed, Mr. Steve Slattery, and congratulated him, and also reached out to a couple of new members, Jay Chabra and Tom Kosker. And essentially, we talked about working closely with the Board of Ed, and as a school liaison and as the new majority leader, I'm going to be working as closely as possible to kind of iron out issues which might come up before we go into a public budget process. And I also heard on the meeting, certain members raised that concern that they would like the council to be more engaged because before we have a full budget process in motion. So I talked to the members, as I mentioned, our chair and the two incoming members, and I think we have a good path towards that more collaborative environment as we go into this new town council session. Thank you. That's the report.
Thank you. Capital improvements.
We have not had a meeting since the last council meeting. Our meeting is scheduled for November 29th at 5 p.m.
Economic development.
Has not met.
Okay. We have nothing on the consent agenda, so we'll go to old business update, the Connecticut Deep SMM grant, food scraps separation.
Okay, let me give you the latest update. Last we met was in October, talking about the application that we were putting into the state. Since then, we were given word that our current contractor now has a permit to do separation. We reached out to them. They were actually sharing with us that they were participating in a bid or an RFQ with Middletown. I had conversation with Middletown today, so they'll be able to maybe share some numbers with us, or we can reach with the vendor and see if we can develop an application for a pilot based on those numbers. So we're going to continue to move ahead. We also set up a vendor relationship with Quantum, so we can take our transfer station items. We'll still go ahead with that endeavor regardless of the application status. And so they are all set with us, and we should be ready to move with that. Of course, winter weather and transfer station hours will adjust, unfortunately, but we're still moving forward with the transfer station drop-off.
That's awesome. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to the update opioid funds.
It's yours.
Thank you. So, yes, just an update on the opioid funds. We received last year about $37,000. We also received another installment in the past month for $6,500. We are making expenditures from that. We've had involvement from the police department, youth services, and human services. Youth services did a Screen Teenagers, and I'm sure I didn't do the vendor's name justice, program, which was funded from that. Also, the police department made purchases of Narcan. Their plan is to have that available in all vehicles. Also, Human Services is working on a program to keep lock boxes available to parents so they can protect any medications in-house, as well as doing some outreach programs. So we're moving forward with the opioid grant funds.
And I'll just give you an update from the committee that I sit on at the state of Connecticut. So we made our first expenditure of funding in the amount of $500,000 to provide clean needles and cleaning supplies and kits to nonprofit agencies that are helping folks who are living with the challenge of opioid addiction. One of the things that that we're looking for now, we have an open public session online, and we're looking for municipalities to provide information to how they think we should be spending the money and how they might like to spend the money. I know that we've submitted some of the ideas that we've been doing. What I'm going to do is, now that the elections are over, is reach out to the mayors in our Central Connecticut Health District and see if they want to get together with us. And I know that Ann Hartman, who oversees this area with the Central Connecticut Health District, is interested in doing this and meeting with the human services departments in those other 3 towns that we share services with, as well as maybe the town managers, seeing how far we can get and looking at some of the agenda items that Ann and Charlie have put together over the years to address opioid use, and seeing if there's something that we can do on a regionalized basis, not necessarily touching the money that we're receiving, but tapping into that grant opportunity that exists with the state.
That's good.
Any questions? Okay. Moving on to new business discussion, possible action, Sustainable Rocky Hill Task Force bylaws.
Okay, in your package, you do have a copy of the bylaws submitted to you as revised by both me and the town attorney over the past couple of months. So I'm asking the town council to act on this version. There may be one or two other, maybe one other revision you might want to look at. That would be on page 2, section 1. The town council may want to consider the original task force's recommendation is that the term for the members of the task force first appointed on October 2022 were on until January 2025, as opposed to January 2024.
Any comment?
So I don't know, I can ask this question now or during your report, Trey, but I didn't have like the full list. I sent you an email. I don't know if you had
Just got it hot off the press.
Yeah, so I think Bill, probably you looked at that as well, right? So can we get a complete list? And what I would like to have is like actual appointments. I mean, full list is good, but if you can actually narrow it down to the appointments which need to happen in the next, let's say, 3 months, right? Because those will be the ones which we need to take up the most, quickly. Like,
Actually, Pug, I was going to make a suggested adjustment which may negate what you just are saying.
okay, all right, okay, no,
Or we can discuss, but, so I had two suggestions. Oh, do you have other stuff?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Jeff,
Well, one was regarding that section you mentioned, shouldn't that just be like all our other committees in conjunction with our town council, the 2-year town council stint? So we would be creating a new members or reappointing members, whatever, now starting in presumably January, like we do for our other committees and task forces, and then, so in January 23, and then again January 25, and so forth, like we.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a suggestion to do that, so you're consistent with every other
Right.
commission or board.
I have a question about the number of members. I don't have my bylaws, but I thought it said between 7 and 9, but there's, but there's 6 right now, right?
Correct.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
yeah, and that was
So-
the confusing part too, actually.
So do we want to just make it 7? I mean,
Yeah, specific
because like,
odd number, yeah.
it's just odd, like, do we need 7 or 9? I
Yeah.
don't know why we have that. I think maybe we were just thinking how many was a good number, but 9 is a lot of people,
Yeah, I
right?
think-
When you have your alternates and everything.
I think 7 is a good number.
Yeah.
If you agree, Bill.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
I guess that's section 5, Article 3, the 9's allowing for 2 alternate members. So are we taking out the alternate members, just leaving it at 7?
I think
And then
5
if somebody
and 2,
resigns,
yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
we then
There-
replace like any other
Yeah.
committee?
yeah, I think that.
Oh, no, well, that's a different question. So do you want all 7 to be voting members, or do you want 5 to be voting and 2 alternates that will have to replace, because you won't want to mess up the quorum?
Yeah, I was thinking, so the way I was thinking about it was more like 7 in total.
Total.
Because I think the 9 is, so 7 in total, but
So 5 and then 2?
5 and 2, yes.
Okay.
The only thing that's problematic, I think, with having a fixed number rather than a range is you have a vacancy, and then there may be a period of time where you don't have that full number, and then a potential question, can it vote, can it function?
If we have the 2 alternates, we'd have.
Well,
people to
that's
fill that
true.
spot.
The alternates would take care of that. Because we do have this language, I think Article 4, it says, putting aside the alternate issue, between 7 and 9.
Okay.
So, yes, so we're talking about amending that to fix it at 7, and then the 2 alternates, which,
2 of the 7 would be alternates.
2 of the 7?
Is that
2 of the 7 will be the alternates.
Yeah,
So 5
Plus 2.
voting at any given meeting.
yeah, and 2 alternates, yeah, and then, yeah.
Yeah, just for a point, the resolution that was passed did say not less than 7, more than 9, so that's why that language is in
Gotcha.
there.
That's where it fit in.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
7's a big committee, that's the only.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you want to change that to 5?
7 in total.
5 regular, 2 alternates.
Yeah. And then we want to change, we'll put on the table. Do we want to change to make the terms align with the appointment of new administration?
I think that makes good sense.
Okay.
I mean, it's very hard to have at the same time. It doesn't give you enough time as a new council is elected to do the appointments as we're talking about right now. So
Okay.
the calendar year makes good sense, I
Okay.
think.
Is there anything else that sticks out?
Those are the things I s-
Section 2, quorum, if we're going with 5 members, should a quorum then be 3 members instead of 4?
Yes.
I don't know if we're voting on this tonight, but myself
Yes.
and Councilman Zamini have not received the copies of this for review.
In your electronic packet?
We don't have.
Oh, you don't have emails?
They're town emails.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Councilman.
I wasn't familiar with it enough anyways.
He has not received.
You didn't do?
Councilman Emmanuel.
So we can table this to the next council.
Yeah.
I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Okay.
Does that affect the vote?
Well, we can table it. I mean, you should, if you want to participate.
I'll move to table.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wow.
So you have nothing except the agenda?
That's correct.
Actually, I got the agenda in the back.
That's all
I
we
mean,
got.
we gotta,
Okay.
That makes the meeting go quicker for you, you know?
I know we had all this.
Okay, moving on to B, discussion possible action volunteer policy. So I think this is just a reiteration of a desire to have one person serving in just one role on a committee, task force, you know, all of that, commissions, boards that we do. And so generally we see that it's very difficult to get folks to volunteer their time. And so we tend to put the same person on multiple boards and commissions, but I'm not suggesting we have a written policy, but if we can just strive, you know, to make a difference this year, that's all. Any questions? No? Okay. Approval 2024 Town Council meeting schedule.
I'll make a motion to approve the schedule as presented. Packet for those who got a packet.
The schedule is the same
Yeah, it's basically the
first and third Monday of the month, except if there's a holiday.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and finally, the update to the ARPA Department of Aging Senior Program.
Mona, why don't you give an update on that? You've been working with Gina on that.
Okay. Yes, so we just wanted to update you. We received an ARPA grant. I know we thought we were done with ARPA, but there was actually Department of Aging presented ARPA grants for the senior center. We received the award on that. It was for $62,593, and wanted to share that some of the items that will be included in that. The order has gone in. We're getting an industrial dishwasher, a food steaming tray, upgrade in the refrigeration, and with that dishwasher, Jane will be ordering some actual, not necessarily glasses, like the melamine type plates and some actual silverware. So we're going to get away from the throwaway paper plates and utensils. Will be a cost-saving measure as well, because the cost of paper products had actually been adding to that per meal price, and it will add to, I think, the enjoyment of the meal itself. We'll look at some other upgrades of the sound system. And when spring comes, some more tables and so forth for outside dining. So we've got some great plans for that, and we wanted to share.
And Mona, just maybe worth noting, now we have some new members, that reduction with the dishwasher and plates was part of our budget discussion on how we were lowering the cost of the senior lunch program, or keeping it in line by not having to pay for, I think it was almost $2 per person for paper
Exactly.
goods. So
Right.
that was a positive use of some funds.
That's wonderful. Okay, any questions? All right, moving on to Mayor's report. So we had a beautiful Veterans Day, which started with breakfast at the senior center. It was our, I believe, second year perhaps doing that. And this time we had Marilyn Monroe come and provide entertainment, and that was co-sponsored by the NORCOM Norcom Mortgage, so we want to thank them. Then we had a very nice annual ceremony on the town green, and this year the VFW, because it was a Friday, they offered their steak dinner free to all of the veterans, which was really a beautiful dinner. I want to give a big shout out to Cora J. Belden Library for their amazing book sale. They had it for a few days, and if you went on Sunday the 12th, you got to fill an entire bag with books for $10. It was really incredible. There were so many people, so many families and little kids who really took advantage of that book sale. So very important activity or event in our community. The Weathersfield Rocky Hill Elks Lodge, is sponsoring the Tree of Lights this year. So you can buy a light on that tree, either in memory of a loved one or to honor someone that you love. And all of the money that they make will be presented to our food bank, which is very, very generous of the Elks to do that. The Rocky Hill Human Youth and Services held their second annual military deployment box project, and they exceeded their expectations. They filled 335 boxes. There were 10 volunteers who came from Liberty as part of their community cares department. They decorated the boxes, filled them. They literally had to drive them across the street in someone's vehicle and deliver them to the post office to have time for holidays. So congratulations on that, and thank you to the community who participated and either bought gift cards or donated money so that Rocky Hill Human Services could, for the shipping cost, which is quite a bit of money, box overseas. Congratulations to the Education Foundation that held its 3K this past weekend in conjunction with the Connecticut Veterans Affairs. It was a really, really exciting time. Channel 3 came and they filmed it live at lunchtime or the morning time, actually. And the fire department came and they hung that big, gorgeous flag. And the ambulance folks were there to take care of anyone who might be in need. It was a wonderful way to raise money for education, and they do it annually. So thank you for doing that. Just a reminder that we have our application out for the Affordable Housing Committee. So anyone who's seeking to be a member on that, you can find that on our website. There's a link, a very, very simple application to fill out, and it's a great way to serve your town and to get involved. And then finally, a big shout out to 6 members of our police department who spent the weekend in Westbrook jumping in and out of the freezing cold ocean or Long Island Sound for 24 hours to raise money for Special Olympics. I know Ray went to go visit them in the afternoon. There were 12 police officers altogether, 6 of which were from Rocky Hill, which was really impressive. I went with my family around 9:30, and they looked a little bit cold, but they had this massive, massive fire pit, and they were just in great spirits, and we watched them jump in for the 10 o'clock run, and it was 36 degrees and freezing, and they just did it. Like, God bless them, and raising a lot of money for Special Olympics. So just a really big shout out to them for all that they do, not just for our community, but for the greater good. So thank you. And now we will go to the town manager's report.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Just a few things I want to run down. First of all, Mary Hogan has announced her retirement as library director for the town of Rocky Hill. After 20 years of dedicated service to the town of Rocky Hill and its citizens, we're all very happy she's retiring and she's going to enjoy herself, but we're also very sad and disappointed that we're going to lose a fantastic town librarian and community service person. So we wish her well, joyous retirement. We'll keep you posted on any type of event we might be having in the future. We had our first kickoff meeting, we being the core steering committee for the Community Resilience Workshop, which is the program sponsored by Sustainable CT through the Nature Conservancy. That program will consist of a number of public workshops put on by the Nature Conservancy, run by them, managed by them. Probably 3 or 4 of them in February, January, possibly March. The steering committee's purpose is to publicize the program, as well as look for volunteers who want to come and work and participate in these workshops to work on a plan for the future for the town. Looking at wrapping in any type of recommendations from the Plan of Conservation and Development, and any other type of plan we might have on the books that will get us into the future. At Narcan, the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, they've made available a number of Narcan products for the emergency management, public services, police, fire, ambulance. Rocky Hill was issued, as it says, 6 cases, total of 72 doses of Narcan. That will be distributed by our emergency management director to the police, fire, ambulance, and human services. And they were all notified, I believe, a week ago. So that is good. I'm introducing this, some internal process changes. We had a staff meeting and discussed these 2 items at the staff meeting. To get a better handle on long-term planning and our finances, we are proposing to use a new form for capital improvement planning in-house anyway, through our budget process. Basically, it's a form that all staffers will be utilizing, all department heads will be utilizing when they start looking to develop their capital improvement program. Capital improvement program meaning large, non-reoccurring infrastructure items such as, if you're going to do a truck, it's a large truck, maybe $50,000 to $100,000 in value or more, planned out over the next 5 to 7 years. We're looking to do a true capital improvement program. So these forms will be utilized through our new ClearGov budget software. Basically, the capital improvement form will provide a detail on project cost, priority within the department, priority towards municipal plans, plan of conservation and development, for example, or other plans that have been developed along the way. That way we can more easily track, the priority within the town, whether or not we want to do that particular capital improvement, such as, I'll throw this out, do we want to build a new public works facility and plan for that in the next 5 years or 10 years or 6 years? Or do we want to pay $1 million next year to replace our underground fuel tank? Things like that. We'll also be using a new grant request form to try to get a handle on all these grants, different departments. Right now, every department, they do their own grants, and it's hard to keep track. Grants, many of these grants require matching funds. Some of these grants cost money to utilize the grant, and we need to make sure that every grant is tracked and managed by our central finance office. So what we are doing now, and it will be retroactive to current grants and grants that are currently pending and being utilized. It will be a form that will specify what the grant is, who's going to manage it, how the project will be completed, who will be responsible for completion and management of not only the project, but the management of the administration portion of the grant. And it will have to be reviewed by the town manager. We need to control, we have a limited staff, and grants, especially federal grants, require a lot of administrative management. So we need to get a handle on that, both financially and administratively, so it could be more efficient. Similar to those two forms, I'm introducing a new form for town attorney access. No longer will any department head be able to contact a town attorney without filling out this form and requesting access. That's been an issue in the past, and we need to get a control on that for costs. And most of our department heads may know anyway, that, for example, with Kim Ritchie, the town planner, as an example, she's been doing this for 35 or 40 years. Sorry, Kim. And she has this knowledge that you really don't need to call a town attorney, because she probably already knows. So we'll start that next week, I believe.
That's right.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I just lost my, okay. Technology. The new website, events and happenings. You might notice there's a bit of a tweak on our website right now, where we now have a community events calendar and a public meetings calendar. That's just a very initial phase of what I'd like to do, is have events and happening in one website on our webpage, easily accessed by anybody. They can click on it and they can see either a whole listing of events at one time, or links that go directly, for example, to the library page, but not just the page, but to her events page, and also to the Parks and Rec page, to their events page, and to the seniors, to Gina's page, but just to her events. So, if there's a delay, hopefully we can get that on there. There's a delay tomorrow. The event will be, rescheduled to the rain date. You don't have to go searching for it and trying to find it. So we're trying to improve that. So just stay tuned for that coming. The Middlesex Chamber has developed a new Economic Development Council. They had their first meeting, I believe, last week. It is a regional economic development council focused on business retention, business expansion, workforce development. I have appointed Dawn Satterjee to that particular council. They meet once a month at 7:30 a.m. In Middletown at the Middlesex Chamber, I believe. We will be meeting with Carrie Wood to discuss our infrastructure needs and priorities, so she can help fund some of our pending projects and future projects. Here's a big one. A few months ago, we submitted a employee appreciation survey to 139 full-time staff. We received 95 respondents, which is, I think, a fantastic response rate for a survey. Asking a number of questions, and those questions and the responses were ranked as far as most popular, highest response, highest number received. And also, just to give you a quick background, this is kind of goes back to my philosophy of, excellent customer service starts with good employees who are dedicated, employees that are content and actually might even be happy doing their job. So the top three contenders, of course, was the modified work week. Do you want, 4-day work week, 4.5-day work week, permanent year-round or summer hours? So that was the top vote getter. Next vote getter was access to the community center gym, or fitness center, I should say. That's a fairly easy one. Craig and Gina have already determined the hours that town employees can work, prior to opening a town hall and after hours, after town hall is closed. As well as a possibility of a contribution through their health program of maybe $10 a month through a membership, to a gym membership. For example, Planet Fitness, they get $10 a month or $120 a year plus a sign-on fee. That's also looking at as an option. As well as a food truck ranked fairly high. If we can get a food truck to show up for town hall employees at a certain time, a few times a year, that would be a great, morale boost, I think. There is one I did leave off on this, and I should not have left it off. And that's on-site daycare. It didn't get the most, but we have some new employees coming in, and we have some current employees who have very young children. So I'm thinking that would be a great benefit also. That's a little more complicated as far as, certifications and costs. So those are the items that I'm throwing out there just as initial for the town council to be ready for upcoming conversations.
Is that the first time there's been a survey of the employees?
My time, I've been here for almost 18 years.
Same. Yeah, 20 years, I haven't seen one.
That's impressive.
As you know, probably now, Kim Ritchie has completed the application for the Affordable Housing Committee. A flyer has been developed, and that's in your package, if you had a package. Sorry, guys. John Murphy has posted it on our website. As far as the application, there's an online application form that can be filled out and submitted. And as there will be a flyer, I believe, in the Rocky Hill Life, also advertising volunteers to serve on this committee with directions on how to contact people and links also. And that's all I have.
Well, I think we should just probably say on behalf of all of us, congratulations to Mary Hogan. We're very excited that she can move on to this next chapter, but at the same time, there are so many people who come from out of town to our library specifically because of the incredible programs that she and her staff put together. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much, Mary, for everything you've done over the past 20 years, and we so truly appreciate that. And we hope that you'll stay involved some way, because we love all those little chickens and all the fun things that you do at the library.
So I have some questions actually for Ray. So Ray, I'm actually thrilled to know that you are making all these changes in our workflows and forms and processes and how departments do conduct their business, and you have an eye towards reducing costs because this fall, like I was talking to a lot of residents, and it's funny that you mentioned that today. Seriously, like I didn't prepare for this, but it's funny that you mentioned in your remarks about organizational efficiencies, and one of the things I heard everywhere was, hey, how can we keep our taxes down? And one of the things I always told people, residents, our neighbors, is that one of the ways to do it is by becoming what I say, this is just my phrase, if you want to take it or leave it, if we can get to operational excellence in town hall. So operational efficiency is one way to reduce cost, and I'm actually thrilled that you already picked up that thread. I mean, I was going to talk about this at some point, but I think this is a great start, and I think I really commend that you're starting to look at your processes, your workflows, your department chats, how do they do business, and trying to look at that stuff. One thing I will say, since we are talking about this anyway, and open it up to people to kind of respond to, and I've raised this with the mayor as well prior, is the idea of having department heads do an update on a regular basis before the budget process starts. So what that means for me is, and again, like I want everybody's input here, this side and this side, is the idea that people who report to you should not be here only during the budget session, budget season rather. And there are two reasons for that. I think we will be better informed if they come here regularly and update us on what are they doing, how things are going, accomplishments, challenges, money, all the good stuff, right? And just like I do with my boss at my work, and all of us do, right? So I think that's number one. And number two is, in addition to us being well informed, to make those votes when the budget comes up, we will also be informing the residents out there who watch these meetings and are interested in actually learning more about the process. So they will know what goes on in our departments and how their money, how their taxpayer dollars are being spent, right? So I think overall, I think it's a win for all of us. Brings in more transparency, more opportunity to talk about their work. Departments have another opportunity to talk about their good work they're doing. And I truly feel it's a win-win and shines a light on, like I said, all the good work the department heads are doing in their respective departments. So I just want to set that out. I wanted to set that up because you opened the door for it. And I wasn't really planning on talking about this, but I would be interested in listening to Bill and Mimi and John and everybody else on my side, because they already know my intention here was always there about those updates. So
Yeah, let me jump on that. It's funny you should mention that. We had a staff meeting this morning, and I introduced to the staff, department heads, that we will be doing what I call Meet the Department Heads, starting real soon before the budget process, to do exactly what I think we discussed this in the past also, to do a informal discussion for each department coming in. You ask questions, they let you know what's going on, what they do, and then it's a give and take on a more informal basis. Before, like you said, before we get into the number crunching and the formal presentations to the town council during budget. But we did introduce that this morning at the staff meeting.
yeah, but I would like it to be a much more formal process on the agenda.
It will be on the agenda, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be invited, and yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So kind of like the Department of the Month sort of thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like on a rotating basis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think we can set it up starting in January, I guess. And then maybe we have a pro forma for like how we want to hear this, because again, this is my thought. Again, I want to get input from everyone. I think we should do it with a format, and it shouldn't be like free flowing in the sense that everybody should know what they're going to hear. Like I said, accomplishments, opportunities, things they want to talk about. I mean, I can come up with that right now, right off the bat. But something like that, like something which is more structured and actually helps us learn more. So the idea is to actually learn more. And I think having some structure around it will help us do that.
I like it.
Thank you. I thought you would.
Is your report all done?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to executive session.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to go into executive session with the town manager, Director of Human Resources and Legal Compliance, and Director of Finance and Operations to discuss records, reports, statements related to strategy and negotiations with respect to collective bargaining and litigation.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.